I just like the sound of it.
Yo, YouTube, it's your boy Premier, back today with another banger, and in today's video we'll be going over one of the best all-around builds in NBA 2K20, a two-way pass first point. But before we get too far into this video, Premier Worldwide, I already know you're good for it, but if you're new, smash that like button, drop a nice comment below, subscribe if you're new, and while you're at it, turn those post notifications on. Right now, we are on the grind of 5,000 subscribers. We are under 1,000 subscribers now, away from 5K. We drop daily uploads on this channel, so any support is appreciated. But now, to get started on this build, first things first, you want to go ahead and make it a point guard. Next, handed jersey number, of course, is all up to you. After that, on the skill breakdown, you want to go ahead and select the skill breakdown with the most shooting and the most defense. The reason you want to choose this skill breakdown here for this build over like the play lock pie chart here, yes, this build gets a higher playmaking and some better defensive stats, but for this build you're going to be looking at this skill breakdown right here, because once you are in takeover you can speed boost, you get some of the best defensive stats in the game, and then on top of that you're going to get Hall of Fame shooting badges. Some of the best locks in the comp stage and the play WR are using this lockdown build because you can shoot lights out with it and you can play great on ball defense. This is definitely going to be meant for an on ball defensive type of lockdown. So for this build, make sure you select the skill breakdown with the most defense and the most shooting. Next, onto the physical profile. For the physical profile, you want to go ahead and select the top physical profile, the one with the most speed and the most acceleration. Point here is you want to be as fast as possible with the ball on offense, and then of course on defense you definitely want to be as fast as possible to keep up with the ball handling. If you were to look at any other physical profile, you could look at this second one here from the bottom. If you're okay with being a tad bit slower and having a higher vertical, that of course is all up to you. But for one of the best on-ball lockdown builds, the best version of this build in my opinion, I recommend the top physical profile, the one with the most speed and the most acceleration. Next, for your attributes. To get started here on these attribute upgrades, you want to go ahead and max out the close shot. Next, max out the driving layup, and of course after that you want to max out the driving dunk. But here for this build to be called a two-way pass first point, you can only upgrade this build standing dunk to a 39. That way you get the most finishing badges. Next, onto the shooting here for this build. Go ahead and max out all the mid-range, max out the three-pointer. You want to go ahead and upgrade the free throw. If I'm not mistaken, I will get a quote there on what you need to upgrade it to. I recommend keeping the post fade just because post fades are a lot cheesier, and plus you'll still have a higher free throw. You want to go ahead and upgrade. Oh, you actually have to max it. But okay, yeah, you do have to do the post fade on this build. Drop the post fade down to a 77. Keep the free throw at 88. The reason being you want the most attribute upgrades possible. That way you can get the most badges. And here for this build, you want to go ahead and upgrade the pass accuracy to an 81. If I'm not mistaken, and upgrade the ball handling to a 78. Yeah, it was an 81 there on the pass accuracy. Then for the remaining attribute upgrades, you want to come down here, max out your perimeter defense, max out your lateral quickness. You want to go ahead and max out your steal as well. You are in an on-ball lockdown. Then from here, put your remaining 21 attribute upgrades into your defense and rebounding. And here's the reason why you have to put those 21 attribute upgrades. As you can see, I just had 16 there on my defense and rebounding. Look, I just put it in the block here and only get 15. I know it is only one extra defensive badge, but in the long run, that is going to matter on this build. So as we finish up here on this build, 8 finishing, 18 shooting, 10 playmaking, 16 defense and rebounding. I really do not know a more all-around balanced on-ball lockdown build besides like a two-way slashing playmaker in NBA 2K20. But the main difference between this build and a two-way slashing playmaker is being able to consistently shoot the three ball. Those Hall of Fame shooting badges are really going to help on this build. But from here, you are done on the attribute upgrades. Go ahead and move on to the body shape. Now here, for the body shape, you do have an option. The two best body shapes for any type of like lockdown build in my opinion is either compact or defined. The reason you don't want to do burly, if you really sit here and flip-flop it between burly and defined, you can see the difference in the shoulder length from each other, and you can actually see the length in the arms. Defined has the longest arms with the closest shoulders in the game. So for the body shape, you want to go ahead and select Defined. Next, for the height here on this build, no other way to put it, you're gonna have a decision here between 6'4" and 6'5". The reason though you do end up wanting to go 6'4", 6'5" stats are very nice on this build, and honestly, if I was just looking at like the best version of this build, I would recommend 6'5". But for this build to be called a two-way pass first point, you need to go ahead and select 6'4", and honestly at 6'4", you are still going to be able to get super bumpy on the ball. You're going to have a very high speed, very high acceleration, This is still a great overall build at 6'4", but honestly, if you're just sitting here comparing, I recommend 6'5" if it really comes down to it, and you do not care about this build being called a two-way pass first point. The reason being is that way you can switch on to big men a lot more effectively at 6'5" with the proper badge setup. But for this build, once again, to be called a two-way pass first point, go and select 6'4". Next, for the weight here on this build, you can go ahead and leave it at 195. It is a great option for this build, but I honestly recommend dropping it down to 175. That way you get the highest acceleration, the highest lateral quickness, the highest vertical possible on this build. So for the weight, go ahead and lock it in at 175. Next, for the wingspan, you can only upgrade it one over the default for this build to be called a two-way pass first point. And as you can see, that 87 steel is pretty nice on this build. So for this build, go ahead and lock it in at 81.5 inches for the wingspan. Next, here for the takeover, honestly, this is all amount of preference, what you want to be able to do on the court the best. Your takeover is just going to amplify what you are doing on the court, and especially if you're choosing a takeover that complements your skill set, you're going to get your takeover faster than others. So if you know you're really going to be focused on guarding the ball, not really doing much on offense, I recommend lockdown takeover. If you know for a fact on offense you are going to be a green bean money machine, bringing up the ball, getting touches on the ball, you can look at the spot up shooter as well. Sharp takeover is by far one of the best takeovers in the game. The only takeover I really don't recommend for this build is like a playmaker. If you did playmaker, I'm not saying that it's like a L or it's a bad thing, because you can speed boost once you have playmaker takeover. Then of course you're gonna be able to drop ankles. You have some playmaking badges to work with. I just think for this build, the three best takeovers by far are lockdown, sharp, and slasher. If it came down to it, slasher is the third best in my opinion. Spot up shooter being the second, just because this build, especially if you start playing more competitively on this game, like playing stage, playing pro-am, you're going to need the lockdown takeover, because a lot of the times they are not going to leave the corner, and if you try to bring up the ball on a two-way finisher on this build, you are going to get bumped. They're going to steal the ball. So for this build, I honestly think the best takeover overall is lockdown defender, just to complement this build skill set. And as you can see, you have built a two-way pass first point. This is one of the rarest builds in NBA 2K20. You do not see a lot of them, but you are gonna definitely start to see them in the stage, in the pro-am. Toxic tourneys coming up. A lot of the comp locks in the stage are starting to use this build, and it is about to become very popular. It is one of the best overall lockdown builds in NBA 2K20. It kind of resembles that two-way mid-range specialist build that Nadexe made popular. So let me know what you think of this build down below. Let me know if you think it's a dub. Let me know if you think it's an L, and let me know what video you would like to see next. But that's all for today's video. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Make sure to turn those post notifications on. It's your boy Premier, and I'm out. Peace.